Greetings, gentle viewers.
And howdy.
That's all I got. Okay, hold on.
That's it. That's the intro. We're just moving on.
Last time, Kiyo confessed to killing Tenko, as of course we knew he did. But now it's a little harder to move forward, but I think we've figured out the weird way it's going to happen. Speaking of thinking we've figured out something weird, but we're still probably wrong, we're the Bittersweet Gamers.
I don't want to acknowledge that.
And I'm in denial.
Why was blood from Angie at the scene of Tenko's murder?
I'm still not sure why he didn't use somebody else's blood.
Wouldn't that have been more suspicious?
Well, his own?
Fair enough.
Yeah, wasn't Angie killed in her research lab?
Just because we found her body there doesn't mean she was killed there.
Oh, never thought of that at all.
Yeah.
Maybe he waited for her to leave.
Maybe so.
So it wasn't that he picked up the blood from her forehead or whatever, but actually, I mean, because that would kind of also explain this.
Yeah.
That he had to, like, tape her up. Okay, I'm like babbling and going a fourth of a way through a sentence, stopping and moving on to another sentence. Let me try that again. Doesn't it make sense, or couldn't it make sense, that he used this to stop that wound, used a sword in the lab after he brought her back there for the killing blow?
Yeah.
And that's why there was all that blood there.
Yeah. But he, like, whacked her elsewhere.
Yeah, see, I was guessing that he had gotten into the lab somehow and whacked her.
But there's no guarantee of that.
Right, but I thought that he had whacked her inside the lab and then put the tape on her to stop her from bleeding there so he could more stage it. But maybe I actually was halfway right about that.
Yeah.
Maybe he put it on her so she wouldn't bleed all over this room, and then he turned over the floorboard, and then that's what kind of led to
I kind of get what you're saying.
This plan. We gotta do better.
I guess that's possible.
If Angie wasn't killed in her lab, then that opens up a lot more possibilities.
If Korekiyo was just like, I would like to join the student council, then she'd go out.
Yeah.
We assumed that only council members could have killed Angie since her body was in her lab. But if she died somewhere else, then we can't suspect just the council members anymore.
So the culprit didn't enter her lab, but waited for her to come out of it?
I mean, he could have just got her as she was walking.
Yeah.
But why would she have gone in the room, though? That dried blood on the bottom of the floorboard is either spatter from attacking her,
or used to mark the beam, like you said.
Yeah, or intentionally used to mark the beam. The cross piece to cut.
I'm not sure if the culprit waited for her, but they probably killed her when she came out.
Well, no, not killed her.
Yeah, no, the killing blow was delivered in her lab.
We know that for a fact due to the weapon that was used and all the blood.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that was more likely from the start. So I went to places Angie might have gone and checked all 3 empty rooms.
He did do that, though.
Yep.
Places she might have gone? Why did you check the empty rooms then?
The empty rooms were the only places I could think of that Angie would go.
Did Angie have business in rooms?
It seems Kokichi's up to his usual misleading nonsense again.
You must forgive us for pressing X to doubt you right here, Korekiyo.
I do lie a lot, and I could be lying right now too. But I'm pretty sure someone's panicking right now because of my lie.
He did check out 2 rooms.
Yeah.
And whether it's because he thought Angie was going there or not, it doesn't matter. Angie left her lab on her own and headed to the room where she was killed? Is Kokichi's statement true? Or is it half true? Sort of true? Maybe true? Completely false? Well, I guess we gotta find out!
Oh boy!
I hope it's the tape. No tape.
The art research lab
Effigies, katana,
is not where Angie was killed.
Necronomicon, cage child.
She was killed in the empty room instead.
Empty room.
She left her lab on her own?
But why would she go into an empty room?
Why contradict an empty
There
room?
shouldn't have been anything in there. Except for candles.
That's it! She wanted a candle!
That
Effigies!
Keep herself awake at night. She would drip hot wax on her body.
That's you!
That sounds like something only you would do, Mew.
Okay, so that last one is pointless, but that made me forget precisely what the other ones were. It was get a candle as an agree point,
Yes.
and then the other one was
Walk into an empty room as a...
contradiction.
Yeah.
Let's look at that again. We got to make sure we know what we have.
Yeah.
Something Angie did.
The art research lab is not where Angie
Oh!
was killed.
The Necronomicon! The
She was
ritual!
killed in the empty room instead.
What?
Details of
She
the
left
ritual
her
when you get a
lab
chance to look
on
at
her
it.
own?
Oh, okay.
But why would she go
no,
into
I
an
think
empty
you're right.
room?
That's it! She wanted a candle!
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah!
It's for the
Keep herself
Necronomicon.
awake
Yep.
at night.
Not for this nonsense.
She would drip hot wax on her body.
That sounds like something only you would do.
You're so freaking.
Analyze my turds.
No!
Quit talking about your poop. No one cares.
Burn!
Burn the candle or burn it to ashes. How are you gonna burn it? With a candle.
Yep.
Okay, cool. That's it.
That's it! Candle!
Nothing.
Woo!
I
agree.
missed.
No, you didn't. Oh, you missed the V point, yeah.
Man, I gotta play more Armored Core.
That's it. Angie went to that room to get a candle.
Oh!
Another one of those things that just didn't occur to me. I suppose it's so mundane, why would it? She could have gotten some type of fire from anything.
Yeah, even the storeroom.
Right, and so she was like, I can get it. How is she gonna light the candle? Because she would have had to.
Well, the candles were normally lit at their default.
Oh, yeah, okay, fair enough. I mean, it doesn't really matter because it is mundane. She's like, I could just go over there and get it. Ta-da!
Yeah, then she doesn't have to go all the way to the
Right.
storeroom.
Right.
Yeah, for kinky wax play.
No!
Red.
No one cares.
No. Angie was gonna use it for the ritual.
No. Also, no. And furthermore, no.
According to the Necronomicon, to resurrect the dead,
After preparing the effigy, burn this Necronomicon to ashes. You'll have to burn it with fire, because fire, being hot, burns.
Oh!
Use caution. Be careful of carbon monoxide poisoning. I don't think there's much of a danger for that, though.
Then, did she seek out a candle so she could burn the book?
that's right. There's nothing to start a fire with in Angie's lab. So she went to go get a candle from one of the empty rooms.
And that's when the culprit attacked her.
Hua, from the shadows.
That's why there was dried blood under floor.
Then he did slap,
Which means Angie was attacked in the same room the seance was held.
which is a coincidence.
Yeah. Which means it wouldn't have been under the other ones. Huh. How unfortunate, Korekiyo.
See, because Himiko picked the same room as Angie because they were on the same wavelength, we were more easily able to solve it.
I see.
Bravo, Himiko. Well done for choosing that room for the seance. If we hadn't done the seance in that room, then Tenko's murder would have been in another room.
Because you understood Angie, even in some trivial way, we were able to solve this. See? You got your revenge.
If that happened, no one would have discovered Angie's bloodstain under the floorboards.
Well, you might have.
Yeah, well, Shuichi only checked under that one room. He could have checked under the other rooms, but he didn't have time.
Well, they could have looked around some more under there. but
Yeah.
They didn't. But I mean, I get that time is a factor.
That's right. Shuichi and I only checked under the floorboards where Tenko died.
Yep, it's all thanks to Himiko for choosing the same room as Angie. This must be a Tua's will. Or maybe the power of magic.
And see, there again, Kokichi and I are on the same wavelength. By the way, that might be dangerous later, Billy.
I am very concerned.
It's neither. I just picked one.
Hold on. You're all acting as though you've proven that is fact already.
Well...
You got something?
What do you got?
You claim Angie was murdered in the empty room, and then moved to the lab? Then how do you explain the large amount of blood in the lab?
Well, that's where she was killed.
Yeah.
It may be possible to carry a body, but blood cannot be moved.
Well, yeah, it can. I understand what he's getting at, though. That's why you slapped the duct tape on...
Her head wound.
Right. I don't know why he hit her in the head, but whatever.
I think she was still alive after the attack in the empty room.
Yep.
We know at what point she was killed.
Yeah.
And if there's all that blood everywhere, that had to have come from the killing blow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we haven't thought about it in so long. Yeah, stab wound to the torso, lacerations on the forehead. I wonder what he used. It doesn't really matter.
She was killed after she was carried to her lab.
That means the culprit attacked her twice. I have evidence of that.
The Monokuma file?
No. The duct tape. No?
I mean, the Monokuma file literally says she has multiple wounds. I mean, isn't it the Monokuma file? It lists all of her injuries.
Well, no, hold on.
Oh, there's a truth bullet literally called forehead injury.
Yeah, it's probably that one.
This is it!
Probably the injury that actually occurred.
The fatal wound was a
the
cut
injury.
to the back of her neck from a katana. But she
Whoa.
also showed signs of blunt force trauma. And I think I know why.
Yeah, see, the Monokuma file says she died from a torso stab.
Earlier, we had actually been surprised because we thought she was stabbed in the back of the neck. This is a while ago. That's what Billy was obliquely referring to just assume that you remembered every little detail of every conversation that we've ever had.
Don't they?
But we were confused. This says fatal stab wound to the torso, but both right there and the first time it came up said back of the neck.
Yeah.
We thought it was suspicious because both victims were killed in the back of the neck. And then later on when we looked at the file, we went, oh, it said torso.
Yeah.
That's why we were so confused. Ha! We weren't mad! Just really picky about details. Blunt force, huh?
Well, I mean, I guess that's what the injury on her forehead is.
Lacerations on her forehead.
Well, if you're hit with a hard enough object, even if it's blunt, it'll break the skin.
But would the injury be something you would call a laceration?
I don't know.
No, I know what you mean about breaking the skin, but would you identify that as laceration or blunt force?
I'm not a doctor.
After Angie was knocked unconscious in the empty room, she was killed in her lab.
I see. So that puddle of blood is from the killing blow.
Right.
Ha! It's all clear now. Angie was attacked in the empty room, carried to her lab, and it was there that the culprit finished her off.
And he even just admitted that he did it, right?
All clear.
Oh.
This is all clear.
It's just he does that every time he's been nailed.
Yeah.
What are you all talking about?
Oh.
All clear? What is all clear?
This is how we know we got you.
What are you? All clear? What are you all? You what? What are? I will not fear.
Whoa!
I will not back down. Sweet Korekiyo, calm yourself.
He is possessed by his sister!
My God! Earlier in the chapter, we were like, they sure are going a little hard into this, like, feminine thing, but, like, his voice is extremely clearly masculine. There's no way for it to be otherwise. So, The mask is to cover his... Is it his sister's body?
I think it might be more...
Korekiyo is...
I think it might be more mundane, and he's just got, like, split personalities.
Well, anyway... The question is it something that he did to himself? Or is it that he is possessed by his sister's spirit, and that's why he's like, oh no, you can do those things. Oh no, you can talk to the dead. Believe me, I know.
Yeah.
I've done all these seances. So you can't resurrect the dead.
Right.
Because if you can resurrect the dead, I already would have resurrected my sister. Or this is his sister who would have resurrected him.
Yeah.
No, I think this is... I don't know. No. This is Korekiyo, not his sister.
Probably, yeah.
The body.
Right.
I'm talking about the body.
Yeah, I knew that's what you meant.
He might really be possessed.
Their words are all hollow. There is no meaning to any of them.
Look at those eyes.
I don't wanna.
What?
You must teach these ignorant children a lesson.
Yes, you're right. Okay, I'll teach them.
Cthulhu Photography!
What the hell are you mumbling about? You're giving me the goddamn willies!
All the talk about your turds, poop, and wax play gives me the willies. But to be fair, he's giving everybody the willies.
Oh, yes.
Not yet. Nothing is clear at all.
The willies are being freely dispensed to all.
Don't say that in the context of Miyu.
Fair enough.
It's full of doubts, of mysteries, of a dense, impenetrable fog! Nothing is clear at all!
Pretty sure everybody knows you did it, regardless of the outcome of the next argument. You don't do this otherwise.
Yeah. Argument armament. Oh no. Okay.
It'll be the duct tape.
Yep, bloody duct tape.
I mean, 100%.
Angie was attacked in the empty room first, and then carried into the research lab? Impossible! That's nothing but a delusion! You intend to poison our minds with your delusions?
It's no delusion. Angie's 2 external wounds tell the story.
Yeah.
After she was struck in the empty room, she was carried to the art research lab and then killed.
You say the culprit carried Angie's body? And not a single drop of blood fell?
Yep.
Well,
The hallway and empty room
Here
had
we
no
go.
bloodstains.
Oh, no? Oh, I get. Okay. That was me.
is there gonna be another one this time?
The hallway and empty room had no bloodstains. Even if you wipe them down later, there'd still be traces of evidence left behind. But there was no evidence
go.
anywhere, was there, Shuichi?
I'll cut through your words.
Ha! They got us! Not bad.
There was evidence left at the scene. The bloody tape under Angie's body.
I cannot believe I got the duct tape right long ago. The location was wrong, but the purpose was right.
Yeah.
What?
It was wrapped around her head to stop the bleeding while she was being carried.
Bloody tape? Gonta didn't notice at all.
It was under the body. It's most likely evidence the culprit should have gotten rid of.
But he messed up.
But since it was hidden, the culprit didn't notice and failed to dispose of it.
It must have fallen as the fatal blow was dealt and ended up under her body.
It must have been Atua who did that for us.
Yeah, fair enough.
What? Atua? How long are you going to keep that up?
As long as you insist that your sister occupies your body.
Now we know most of the mystery behind Angie's murder.
I'm convinced there's only one person who could have killed Angie.
Yeah!
Oh, here we go again.
It has to be you. It's you, Kyo. You killed Angie.
Huh.
What the fuck? So it's true!
Well, yeah, you were right from the beginning.
Well, that was obvious. Such a boring, obvious answer.
Well, this means our prediction at the beginning of the chapter was it was right, but it was not entirely correct because we had one too few victims.
Right.
But we did say Korekiyo was going to kill Angie, both of us.
Yes, we did.
Now we'll be predicting this at the beginning of chapter 4. I cannot imagine that we're going to get the same one.
Oh no.
Surely that won't happen again. For us to get the same one and for it to be right.
There's no way that's happening again.
Right?
You killed both of them. Why did you kill them?
In terms of pure logic, only one victim was necessary to win.
Why? Why you killed them both?
For a distraction.
Yeah.
That's all it was for a distraction, to split up the investigation time, which darn near almost worked. Kokichi had to run into overdrive to collect all the clues that we needed.
Yeah. Sacrifice his own blood.
And we even got lucky.
Yeah.
In terms of Himiko picking the same room, and heck, even the duct tape falling underneath Angie's body, and Korekiyo being too crazy to pick it up.
Yeah.
Or like to remember. He wasn't cold enough. He was too hot.
Yeah.
So he wasn't being thorough.
I think one of the murders was an accident.
So.
Well, remember, it could have easily just have been Himiko also. Oh!
So
she came into the room as he was setting it up.
So he was only intending to kill one random victim with the seance, which he was going to make happen, but instead Angie came in and caught him sawing the cross piece.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, that actually ends up matching Chapter 3 in Danganronpa 2.
Oh, it does.
An accident?
Huh. Well, okay, fair enough.
That's right. It wasn't part of the plan.
Except that unlike the previous game, this time the accident was the first murder instead of the second.
Yeah.
Huh? Which one?
The murder that was an accident would probably be the one that did not involve an elaborate trap.
That's it!
Yeah.
Angie's murder was an accident.
I'm not sure I would have ever come to that conclusion, but okay.
What? Tenko wasn't accident?
No, Tenko's was far too premeditated.
And we had all the details with that one.
Yeah.
It's just with Angie's, it was like dirt, and
that's why.
That's right. Kyo originally planned to kill someone with a seesaw trick.
The thing is he almost got away with Angie's, but we instantly pegged him for Tenko's.
Yeah.
But while he was making preparations in the empty room, Angie walked in.
If she would have gone to a different room,
she'd still be alive.
So he decided to kill her in order to keep her from talking.
But then why did he go ahead?
Right?
And why didn't he end up checking with the Moto Cubs?
Yeah!
She just happened to walk in on the culprit setting up and was killed.
Then he should have just stopped there.
Which is what I was saying.
Once he killed Angie, there was no reason for him to kill Tenko.
Well, Korekiyo is stubborn enough to do what his heart desires, and what his heart desires was that seance, and the murder plan he'd already come up with, that he thought was really good, but wasn't nearly as good as the accidental one that he did.
Right?
It was just too perfect, man. I'm sure that what, like 90+% of people were like, it was Kyo that comes to Tenko's death.
He only needed to kill one for this game. Killing two is pointless.
It's the only reason that he wouldn't have checked with the Cubs. Either that or he was just... I guess only Kirumi was thorough enough to do that. But once we knew that she did, then everybody would know it's something you could do.
Yeah. He may have just been completely panicking with the Angie thing, and so he just wasn't thinking clearly, but still, like you said, was stubborn enough to go through with it anyway.
If you get bonus points for killing more, then sure. Otherwise, it leaves more clues behind.
Why, Kyo? Why you kill two of our friends?
That's why I really thought it was a distraction. Just so it could create the argument of You got me, but it doesn't mean I killed them both.
Yeah.
What on earth are you talking about? No, I'm not the culprit. So, why is everyone looking at me like I am?
Maybe he isn't the culprit.
Maybe it's his sister.
Oh my god.
Why? Why are they? Why is it?
Calm yourself, Korekiyo.
Yes.
You mustn't raise your voice. You mustn't stutter.
Ah, I see.
You mustn't lose composure. You mustn't become flustered. You mustn't waver.
Sister is perfect. You are not perfect.
Look at their horrid faces. This sorry lot is not worth agonizing over.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
So was there ever anything like this in Lovecraft?
Yeah, of course there was. Although it wasn't so much being possessed by ghosts as straight up replacing someone's personality with your own. So, we have an anthropologist who hates air conditioning and who is sort of infected with another person's personality. These are all elements in Lovecraft. In the thing on the doorstep, for instance, the main character is victim of personality swapping. Furthermore, there's an entire race of aliens in Lovecraft who routinely avoid extinction by sending their consciousness across time and space into the future and replacing themselves with other life forms.
Okay, well, it's not that
I know
one.
it's not that. It's much more closer to the thing on the doorstep.
Well, I guess his personality hasn't been replaced.
Right.
There he goes again. What the hell's wrong with him?
I'm more like added to.
Yeah.
Addition, not subtraction.
Yeah.
Or fusion.
It almost seems like he's talking with someone.
I don't know, maybe the fact that he pulls down his mask and reveals a very feminine face and begins talking in a different voice as if he is someone else. Maybe you guys could have noticed that part?
Perhaps.
Someone? He's just talking to himself. And why the hell is he wearing lipstick?
No matter how loudly you protest, this is a trivial matter.
Oh, now he's going to be like, yeah, it wasn't me, I didn't do it, oodity boodity. And I have to like lose my mind with the
armament,
meet the bone on, yes.
Meet the bone on.
No, I'm ready for it this time.
Well, at least you going insane is on brand.
I will never acknowledge your allegations. Not a single one of them.
You don't have to. We just gotta vote.
For you see, there is no evidence that I killed Angie.
Despite what television and novels would have us believe, circumstantial evidence is actually often the only type of evidence that really is found. It doesn't have the maximum amount of weight, but it doesn't have no weight either. There's enough to get a solid conviction here. We don't need to prove anything else. We've got it.
No, I will not acknowledge it. I will only acknowledge facts, true events. I won't acknowledge fiction, mystery.
You won't acknowledge mystery, eh?
I won't acknowledge your deductions or guesses.
Your reality is what you say it is. Facts be damned, eh?
Well said. Good job, Korekiyo.
Yes, thanks.
Creeps me the fuck out!
No evidence? There's no evidence that he killed Angie.
You're wrong. There is evidence.
What? You do realize bluffs like that won't work, yes?
The weapon that was used to knock Angie unconscious in the empty room.
Huh? The hell is that?
Must have been the floorboard.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that fair enough. I guess that's what it was.
Yeah.
That weapon tells us the whole story, Kyo.
That's not possible. I think you may have misunderstood. Apologize. Come on, apologize.
I'm not gonna say this is creepy. This is infuriating.
Yeah.
Having someone just start ranting and raving, going no, 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 no.
I agree.
Apologize. Apologize. Apologize.
You're the one who killed 2 frickin' people! You apologize!
Yeah!
Come on. Apologize. Apologize, apologize. Apologize, 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 apologize.
I'm getting the distinct sense that Korekiyo has felt as though he were wronged in the past, and with an apology, he might have forgiven the person or been able to move on, but did not receive one.
Whatever makes you say that, Damon.
Seriously, what the hell's happening?
I have no idea what's happening with that crazy guy, but I know what weapon he used on Angie. I have to prove it to him. Here we go.
I have nothing to admit.
Okay.
You are simply wrong.
Yeah, like that.
Yes, I'm not the culprit.
So I have nothing to confess.
I can't find the next one sometimes.
Well, it's because he's taking up the whole screen.
You are simply wrong.
I can't even look at him. I want to see.
Yes, I'm
He's
not
got
the
like
culprit.
a Shiko,
So I have nothing to confess.
priest, and like his sister is a doll with a bow. Like a Taoist
Why
priest.
must you force your delusions on us?
Your logic.
That's merely a delusion. Well said, Korekiyo. To continue this debate is meaningless. Why must you force your delusions on us?
Your logic.
That's merely a delusion. Well said,
I couldn't find
Korekiyo.
it.
To continue this debate is meaningless. Why must you force
Don't
your
forget you can use
delusions
fever
on
time.
us?
It doesn't do anything. The hard part isn't hitting the button. The hard part is finding it and doing the
I
hold
am not the
and the
culprit.
timing. Fever
So
time
why
is
are you
pointless.
looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me.
Korekiyo speaks the truth. Such a sorry lot.
Apologize. Apologize. Apologize.
Apologize. Apologize.
Apologize. I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me.
Korekiyo speaks the truth. Such a sorry lot.
Apologize. Apologize.
I'm never gonna be able to get through this. Fine.
Apologize.
Fine. Now
I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me.
Korekiyo speaks the truth. Such a sorry lot.
Sorry, I'm seeing all these errors and stuff.
Apologize.
Oh my god, I didn't notice.
Apologize.
Apologize. Apologize. I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong,
Oh my
not me.
god!
Korekiyo speaks the
Ridiculous.
truth. Such a sorry lot.
Here it comes.
God, this is horrible.
You have no proof that Korekiyo
Remove
is the killer.
floorboard.
Yeah, remove floorboard.
It ends here.
Now that I'm not mad, I can actually like
Kyo hit
Like-
Angie with the same floorboard used in the seesaw trick.
now that my brain wasn't exploding because I knew how terrible it was going to be to start with, that I was able to handle it.
I don't know, I still think you saved for half damage here.
God, no, the hard part in that one, well, other than the fact that they made the timing thing vanish with error messages, but the really hard part was that Korekiyo was the same color as the text. And so I could not find the next one to go on. And they keep like changing up the order. It's just such a giant mess. I really think that it ought to actually have like music.
Like actual music.
And maybe like calm down with the pronk, pronk, beep, pronk, pronk, bounce, pronk sound effects. Anyway. Yeah, really didn't see that coming, but fair enough.
I see. And how do you know the floorboard was the murder weapon?
There was a small patch of dried blood on the underside of the floorboard.
Well, no, he didn't say it was the murder weapon. It was the weapon that he used to knock her out and then take her away.
I mean, judging by the size of it, when we saw Korekiyo jump on it, then it looks like it would have been too big. But okay, whatever.
Well, big enough for a small girl like Angie.
No, not too small, too big. Oh. This looks like he would have been wielding like an ultra great sword. Like this looks like it might have killed her. You know what I'm saying? When we saw the thing about him jumping on it, this thing looked like a humongous thing to just plow somebody in the head with and have them have like a minor injury.
Angie's blood?
Okay, whatever.
Blood that spattered there when the culprit struck Angie with the board. But that's not the only evidence that she was hit with that floorboard. There's also the blood stain under the floor to consider. For that to be there.
Huh? I mean, I see that, but wasn't that where Tenko's blood had dripped?
No. Tenko's blood was on the other side.
The floorboard must not have been in place at the time of the attack.
Good point. Had the floorboard been in place, her blood wouldn't have splattered beneath it.
No, hold on.
Yeah, wait. I thought the dried blood just dripped off of the floorboard after Korekiyo put it back.
I mean, how much freaking blood are we talking about down there?
I have been told that forehead wounds do bleed an awful lot.
Yeah, head and scalp wounds bleed a whole lot. I mean, I even pointed that out at the time with the forehead injury. But,
I guess they're saying...
Why wasn't there a truth bullet? Why didn't they point this out more?
Yeah.
Well, I guess if they did, it would have been...
Kiyo's earlier confession is further evidence that the floorboard was used.
It might have been, like, too obvious. At that point, it would have, like, kind of given more of the whole path.
Yeah, that makes sense.
How? If the weapon used to hit Angie is the floorboard from the seesaw trick...
It means the culprit knew about the seesaw.
Yeah.
So the same person killed Tenko and Angie.
God.
Truth be told, man, your plan was easiest to pin it on you compared to anybody else.
Yeah.
Easier than most Danganronpa characters.
Yeah.
I believe that while Kiyo was setting up the seesaw, he was holding the board when Angie walked in.
And he cold-cocked her with the floorboard.
All you can do now is accept it. You even confessed to Tenko's murder already.
So it's true. This is the truth.
Looks like we're almost at the end. All right, Shuichi, I'll leave the finale to you. Bring down the house.
Shuichi, please, put an end to this. For Angie and Tenko's sake. End this class trial.
I understand. I'll go over everything one more time. Kiyo, I want you to confess. No, I will force you to confess.
Okie dokie. Well, as usual, we're just gonna play it straight if you want to watch, and if you don't, don't. Okay, let me see here. We've got the small stone and the sliding lock and the removed floorboard.
Well, that would be the removed floorboard, right?
Yeah. I guess maybe what we ought to do is start using the items that we actually have unlocked. That's probably going to be an easier way of figuring out how to do these.
The small stone, yeah.
Gold leaf katana.
That would be Kokichi.
Right.
We actually do have the second one to the left.
Huh? What?
That one. It's, yeah, hit the sliding lock.
Oh, we do have hit the sliding lock.
But just take it easy. Take it slow and steady.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go on remove the gold leaf katana. Well, the duct tape, but...
Okay, we don't have anything yet.
No, we already got that. Okay, so it must be further past... Okay, let's just leave that one alone. We can't leave it alone. We need to get it before we can get one more.
Well, it had to have been during the earlier spot then. With Angie's.
Culprit approach the cage has nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. What weapons did the culprit? Yeah.
Oh.
Who unlocked the door? Well, not a katana. What? Oh, we do. That's remove the katana. That's not what killed her, but whatever.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. You have to move around to find them. Well, anyway, it turned out that we got it right, so it doesn't matter. Okay, sickle.
Yep.
Right?
Right? Yeah.
Path made with salt.
That's what the killer used further to the left.
No, yeah, I know, but I'm making sure see what I did was I went over here to determine our boundary point, so I now know that it's gonna be this way.
Yep, that one.
Because like by finding, the boundaries, then I know like where to look. Okay. It was like the compressed.
Yeah.
There we go. Man, we're blathering less and working more compared to the last ones.
Well, we gotta show our stuff sometimes,
Something like that. That's cute. The way she's walking. Who was the culprit with the saw in the empty room? Well... What? Okay, whatever, we'll get to that. Whose effigy were stabbed? I mean, it's that one, but... Oh my god, guys.
Yeah, it's a little weird, isn't it?
It's the translation. You just need to stop doing global simultaneous releases, and then if you do, you need to, like, commit to translation patches. Like, afterwards. Like, good on NIS for doing that, but more companies need to. It's ridiculous. It's not that there's not good quality translators, it's that they don't have the time or the ability to go over them the way that translators previously could, thanks to, like, simultaneous releases. Extinguishing the candles. Yeah.
Shuichi.
Why is that even a thing,
I don't know, man.
Oh, right. Stomp hard on the floorboard. Well, that was a coincidence. Why does that matter? I mean...
They don't necessarily always do. Well, that doesn't answer the question, but
yeah,
that's what he was doing.
That's what I'm saying. This doesn't answer the question, but that's what it was. And, I mean, I understand
This is the truth of the case!
because of Japanese grammar, but without it, that's gotta be irritating sometimes.
Let's look back at the first murder. It was late last night. The culprit was in the empty room on the 4th floor. The culprit was preparing the seance murder they had planned. To use the floorboard as a seesaw, they had to cut the crosspiece supporting it.
I like the evil limp wrists.
The plan was to make the same preparations for all 3 empty rooms. This would divert suspicion away from the culprit and whoever picked a room.
Unless somebody looked in there.
Right.
Well,
To cut the crosspieces, they needed a saw. I imagine they got one from the warehouse.
I say that, but it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. If there's only one, then you have to direct it to the right place.
Yeah. It was going to be suspicious either way.
Well, that's one of the reasons that it made it easy to figure out who did it. Need a better plan.
They were planning to cut the cross pieces in all 3 rooms.
Ideally, don't murder people.
Oh, that's a great plan. I live by that plan.
So do other people.
However, when the culprit was working on the middle room, the unexpected happened. Angie walked into that room and saw the culprit making their preparations.
Nothing you can do at this point.
She needed some fire for the ritual and had gone to the room for a candle. At that point, the culprit had not finished the setup and was just cutting cross pieces.
By Atua's grace, at the very least, she coincidentally went to the right place at the right time.
I think it was indicating she heard the sawing in the previous panels.
Your face.
Angie might not have concluded that it was tied to some kind of murder plan.
Yeah, but when the murder happened, she would.
Yeah.
But now that Angie had seen it, the culprit couldn't use the seesaw trick.
I like how I tried to give Atua some credit, and then you were like, no. And, okay, fine, I won't. You can't accuse me of not paying any lip service to this sort of thing.
Any other person might have just given up, but not our culprit.
We have the best culprits.
You're looking awfully bored, Angie.
Arrgh!
The culprit took the floorboard they loosened and struck the unsuspecting Angie in the head.
Never speak again, Billy. Dramatic drip.
The culprit did not want to give up on their plan and had to improvise.
Yeah, it was stubbornness.
Yeah.
They wrapped duct tape around Angie's injury to stop the bleeding. Then they picked up her unconscious body and carried her to a research lab. While she was unconscious, the culprit hurried to tie up this loose end. But because they were in a hurry, they made a crucial oversight. They didn't notice the duct tape had peeled off and was under Angie's body.
Should have checked it afterwards.
Without that evidence, we may never have figured out the culprit's trick. Carrying the supplies they needed, the culprit returned to the ultimate art lab. Locked the front door from inside. And took out the katana they brought from their own lab. They then stabbed Angie in the back of the neck, finally killing her.
It really did say torso, everywhere else said neck. You can't try to tell me that there are no translation issues that could have been solved by somebody going back over it. But they would have had to pay that person to go back over it, and they decided it wasn't worth it to do that. See, that's my problem. I'm complaining about, like, it's not the translator's professionalism that leads to these problems. Okay, tell your joke, Billy.
I wasn't going to tell a joke. I was just saying, doesn't Korekiyo's murder here just sort of exemplify that? The evidence was found because he didn't go back over it.
Hey, you're right!
Then, to further confuse us, the culprit attempted to make a locked room mystery.
Attempt nothing, it worked, for a little bit anyway.
First, they used rope from the warehouse and hung 4 effigies upside down. There were 2 reasons for this.
This really... I understand that we're not allowed to say this or something, but the hanging the effigies thing is absolutely revealing that it's probably Korekiyo. Because you have to resort in a time of great duress. It's like nothing has gone the way he wanted it to go, so now he has to improvise. At that point, you were operating based on your own character, your own natural properties of your personality and inclinations, right?
Yes.
Like when things get bad, you revert to the basic level of your training. The type of training, the type of experience, personality, inclination, skills he has is this.
Yes.
No one else would have thought to do this. The only reason someone would have thought to do it by default would be to pin it on it.
Yeah, to try and frame him for it.
To overwhelm the room with an occult atmosphere.
Yeah.
And the other was the key to locking the room. The culprit stuck the katana into Kaede's effigy near the rear entrance. And spun the effigy around to twist up the rope. After enough turns, the culprit let go and headed for the rear door.
Okay. No, I was laughing at like the way
Once
they
released, the effigy began spinning, and the gold leaf katana with it.
That the way they depicted the spinning was literally to just 90-degree angle turn, 90-degree angle turn, 90-degree angle turn in the panels. I suppose you could also say that that what I was just talking about with the identifying the personality, and the only person who would do it is somebody with that type of personality. Perhaps you could say that might not always be accurate. Perhaps you could say we're being like too obviously judgmental, or we might be looking at our own like preferences or valuing the things that we want to value, or weighting the evidence the way we want to. But we were right from the beginning, weren't we? So, I mean, actually, we were completely correct about it. Maybe we wouldn't be from another situation, but in this case, we at least had that part of Korekiyo's personality pegged correctly.
Oh, yeah.
The handle of the katana then hit the sliding lock, locking the door. A difficult trick, but remember that the lock was so loose it moved at the slightest touch. The culprit also would have had the opportunity to attempt it many times.
I just want to say that was a nice detail that I never thought of and really appreciated.
What?
This!
Oh,
that he could have done it many times.
Yeah.
Once complete, the door was locked, but the duct tape was left behind. Perhaps the culprit noticed it, but by that point, it was too late.
Well, I think that's interesting.
The room was sealed. There was no way for them to get back inside.
Well, in any case, I guess we better get the last of the sillies out of the way.
Yeah, it's time for the wrap-up.
Well, you say that so dismissively, but, all of our emotion was really front-ended as far as this trial went. But now... well, a couple more panels, I guess.
Then, this morning, we opened up the room and discovered Angie's body. But the culprit wasn't finished. They wanted one more murder. To do that, they manipulated us into performing this seance.
I just can't believe that it was stubbornness instead of a distraction. Well, I guess... if it was just this, he really might have gotten away with Angie's murder.
If he had just left it at that?
Yeah. Then just stop trying to suggest a seance. Nobody would ever have any reason to crawl around in the floor space under there.
Yeah, that's true.
And people would just find it weird that there was, like, the duct tape.
Yeah, you're right. If he hadn't been so driven by his desire.
Yeah. His inclinations... he wanted a seance he was going to have, and just let it go. We would have quickly figured out how this happened.
But we wouldn't have been able to pin it on who.
Yeah. How could we possibly have pinned it on someone when the only thing that we saw was some cut cross pieces? Or just like one cut cross piece.
Yeah, we wouldn't have even seen that, like you said, if he'd stopped with this.
And that's assuming we figured out that Angie was killed outside.
Yeah!
So it's like it was his own pride that allowed us to figure out who did it. And the thing about that was the grand plan that cost him his success in the killing game was a really bad plan that we saw through instantly.
Yeah.
Of the 3 empty rooms, the middle one was chosen for the seance. I was invited by Kokichi to take Kibo's place in the seance. Tenko volunteered to be the medium, but she never imagined it would get her killed. To perform the seance, the culprit claimed they needed something for Tenko. A small stone that Himiko had brought from the courtyard. Tenko, at the culprit's request, bowed her head until it was touching the stone.
And like she's doing the dogeza with her hands.
That position was instrumental in making sure the murder went as planned. Next, Kokichi and I placed the iron cage over Tenko in the middle of the magic circle. The culprit then volunteered to drape the white cloth over the iron cage. We didn't realize it at the time, but that was a deliberate decision by the culprit.
Yeah.
It's not how the trial went, but the argument could just have easily hinged on, we figured out that there was a sickle that was placed there. So who placed the sickle?
Exactly.
It was you.
They needed to set up the murder weapon that was used to kill Tenko. While they were covering the cage with a cloth, they secretly placed the sickle. Finally, 4 of us placed the wooden statue on top of the cage.
Well, regardless of what I was saying about how easy it was to figure out the culprit in the case of Tenko, the exact method, okay, that took a bit more work, and we didn't even get it exactly right.
That's true.
But figuring out who it was that did it was extremely easy, due to some certain pieces of killer evidence.
Right.
But regardless of me kind of saying how crummy that was, it's actually pretty neat, like the distractions inherent in, well, maybe that's the wrong word to use, but inherent in this particular case. Like having people like have roles and things to do that that haven't had time to get comfortable with, so that all these people are there and they're not quite concentrating on everything that's going on because they're busy thinking about their own, learning the song lyrics and trying to mess around with the statue the way that they're supposed to. I appreciate those aspects of the theatricality of it.
Well, that's how the occult works.
The theatricality and generating a type of buy-in by getting the participant to, actively participate.
Yes, exactly.
Then they're not paying attention and are more likely to
believe what you suggest is happening.
Recognize agency because they are acting in a certain way, and then the thing happens, so it creates the illusion that they're the ones who made it happen because we're most likely to think in that kind of pattern-seeking way. I can't believe I made that sound coherent.
The culprit used the weight of the statue to keep the murder weapon in place.
Do not underestimate the power of rituals.
Yeah. And I like the glowing in this.
After the preparations were complete, we began the seance.
Oh, put the candle in their mouth.
In complete darkness, we each stood in one corner and sang the Caged Child song.
All right, now out of context.
No, red.
When the song finished, the soul of the dead was supposed to enter the medium. But our culprit had another plan: to commit a murder in the darkness. Right after we started singing, the culprit began making their way toward Tenko. It would have been quite difficult to do in total darkness, but our culprit had a guide.
I still don't think this was necessary, but that's okay.
I agree.
Maybe it wasn't necessary, but he wanted to make
sure... They used the lines of the magic circle drawn with salt.
Maybe Korekiyo wanted to make sure he did not mess up.
That's fair. That's fair.
The culprit felt for the salt and used it to guide them along. And when the culprit reached the center of the circle, they found the floorboard that had its crosspiece cut off the night before. Then lifted up their foot and stomped down hard on the floorboard. The floorboard lifted up like a seesaw.
Do you see that floorboard?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
That floorboard is like 7 feet long.
That's easily like a 1d8 weapon.
That is a weapon right out of Dark Souls in terms of its length and heft. How much do you think that weighs? I guess I can see why Angie never woke up.
Yeah.
And pushed Tenko's body up toward the ceiling of the cage. Tenko was stabbed in the back of the neck by the sickle on the top of the cage. She was killed right before our eyes, and we didn't even see it. After committing the crime, the culprit followed the salt back to their corner.
All while singing, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Finished the ritual and had us light the candles.
That was why I figured that walking through the circle that he drew and had memorized, maybe that's why he followed the salt. Well, okay, I figured that would be easy for him because he was even confident he could do it while singing the song. But perhaps because he had so many things to do all at once, that's why he needed the salt.
Okay, that makes sense. Because the more stuff you're doing, the more processing power you're using.
Right, and like, let's make no mistake here, that's gonna be really hard, going up to kill somebody like that.
Yeah.
We followed the culprit's directions and removed the equipment used for the seance. And discovered Tenko's body.
You see the culprit over there?
Yeah.
I just like the lighting. Really, I think this is my favorite one of the closing argument.
While we were all focused on the body, the culprit picked up the sickle and dropped it under the floor through the hole in the corner of the room.
So it was in his corner.
Well, I guess it didn't necessarily have to be.
Ironically, the final step of the murder was unwittingly carried out by us. The culprit had planned the murder so that we would unintentionally destroy some evidence. That evidence was the magic circle that the culprit used to navigate in the dark.
Oh!
However, the culprit didn't know that Kibo had taken a picture.
For who actually could have predicted that he was in fact an actual friggin' robot?
Well, he did keep saying he was. This is further in the future than expected. Well, then again, I guess in Ultra Despair Girls, we already had like a 50-meter tall Monokuma robot.
Yeah.
So, this comic, for the closing argument...
Very artistically done.
Yeah, this is, I think, by far the best of them. I'm not saying that others were bad. I'm saying that this one is...
good.
Yeah, like this shot right there is fantastic.
It was all in the palm of Korekiyo's hand.
He really saved us. Without that, we wouldn't know what changes were made to the circle.
Again, the culprit could just put his hands on the wall.
Yeah, there were several ways he could have done it.
Like in the corner, he could have like put his hand on one of the walls coming out from the 90-degree angle of the corner, and his hand on the other. Calculate that forward, like which the direction he needs to go in is, and then do that with his finger down until he gets to the salt.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have really been any harder.
Or just like follow along towards like Shuichi's singing voice until he hit the circle.
Well, that might be a little harder.
Fair enough.
Just saying, it's not necessary, but so However, this way Kibo has something to do, and we find out for sure that he's a robot.
Yeah.
See, I can buy all the other stuff, including like the flashlight, but I can't come up with a way for a photograph of his memory to be printed from his mouth if he's not really a robot.
Well, now, to be fair,
what?
He could have been using sleight of hand to pull something out of his mouth. Magicians do that, like cards and that sort of thing.
No, I accept that, but how did he get the picture of the circle?
Because his contacts have cameras in them. I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't tell you.
Maybe he took a picture of it when he was here last.
I mean, that would make sense.
Okay, but unless we find out evidence, I'm gonna go ahead and accept that he's a robot.
All right, that's fair.
Maybe you don't have to be happy about that.
I'm just gonna stay devil's advocating it just to be safe.
I mean, that's it. That's true. They're using a camera and then sleight of handing it, and he's already committed. Assuming he's not a robot, he's already
committed to the bit.
He's committed to being a robot.
But now we know for certain, and we know the culprit drew the magic circle. Korekiyo Shinguchi, the ultimate anthropologist. You're the culprit behind these murders.
Well, that was kind of a lame bit, though.
Yeah.
Compared to how they usually are.
That's where my detective work leads us. It all fits.
Speaking of where our detective work has led us, this would be the end. It led us to the end of the episode and the trial, but for right now, the episode. I do have one more thing to say, though.
Huh?
Regardless of whether Kibo is or is not a robot, though again, I accept that he is, though there is room for him not to be still. Regardless of that, regardless of what Miyu did when she said she installed the function and whatever their circumstance may be, remember he was hanging out like kind of around her.
You have to bring that up.
He was hanging out like outside of the computer room because he wanted to be near her.
Maintenance.
Yeah, he needed more maintenance. She wanted him to stare at her poop, and he apparently did. And then she wanted to look at a picture of him staring at her poop.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Red.
You can't say red. Red.